There's a peculiar paradox I've witnessed across decades of working in finance, one that haunts me still. I've sat across the table from individuals earning modest incomes who've accumulated extraordinary wealth, while others commanding six-figure salaries remain perpetually broke. I've counseled lottery winners who've squandered millions, and I've watched ordinary people, unremarkable by society's metrics, become millionaires through quiet persistence. After guiding hundreds of clients through their financial journeys, I've observed patterns that repeat with unsettling consistency. Today, I want to share 3 fundamental truths that separate those who build lasting wealth from the 99% who never will. These aren't the truths you'll find in financial magazines or hear from investment gurus selling courses. These are observations drawn from the lived reality of real people, making real choices with real consequences. By the time we conclude this exploration together, I believe you'll perceive money through an entirely different lens, not as a scarce resource to be hoarded or spent, but as something far more philosophical, a mirror reflecting who you believe yourself to be. The first truth contradicts everything conventional wisdom teaches us about wealth. It's not about how much you earn. It's about who you believe yourself to be when no one's watching. I remember a particular day, about 5 years ago, sitting in a quiet coffee shop between client meetings. The morning appointment was with someone earning approximately $35,000 annually, an administrative worker living a modest, unremarkable life. The afternoon brought a consultant commanding nearly £100,000 per year, successful by all traditional measures. Here's what conventional thinking would predict. The consultant should be wealthy. The administrative worker should be struggling. Reality, as it often does, revealed something far more interesting. The administrative worker, let's call them Client A, had accumulated £45,000 in tax-advantaged accounts, carried no debt beyond a manageable mortgage, and was tracking beautifully toward early retirement. Their pension was robust, their stress levels low, their future secure. The consultant, meanwhile, existed in a different universe entirely. Overdrafts every month, credit card balances accumulating interest, a luxury vehicle financed at rates that made my professional sensibilities wince, and perhaps most tellingly, a constant, gnawing anxiety about money that colored every interaction we had. 2 people, radically different incomes, completely inverted financial realities. The revelation came during my conversation with Client A. They said something I've never forgotten. "I don't earn much, but I'm wealthy because I think like a wealthy person." Meanwhile, the consultant repeatedly lamented, "I earn good money, but I just can't seem to get ahead." They weren't describing their bank balances. They were revealing their identities. You see, your money identity is the narrative you've internalized about what money means and how you deserve to interact with it. It's the story you tell yourself when you're standing in line, deciding between the expensive coffee and the reasonable one. It's the voice in your head when your paycheck arrives, determining whether that money represents fuel for growth or permission to indulge. Most people carry a scarcity identity wrapped in middle-class income. They operate under a seductive delusion. When I earn more, I'll save more. But wealth doesn't work that way. It never has. Wealthy people, and I mean people who are genuinely building sustainable prosperity, not merely performing affluence, think differently at a fundamental level. They pay themselves first, setting aside money for investment and growth before considering expenditures. Then they live on what remains. The majority do precisely the opposite. They live first, spending freely on immediate desires and needs, then attempt to save whatever's left. And what's left, predictably, is usually nothing. The month has more days than the paycheck has reach. If you genuinely want to transform your financial trajectory, the shift begins with identity. Start seeing yourself as a wealth builder, not as someone temporarily embarrassed by their circumstances, waiting for external rescue. Every financial decision becomes a question. What would a wealthy person do here? Not a rich person flaunting their status, but a wealthy person building something that lasts. This isn't about deprivation or judgment. It's about alignment, ensuring your daily choices reflect the future you claim to want. That simple reframing, that quiet internal shift, changes everything. Not overnight, but inevitably. The second truth will likely anger you. It should. Last night, while preparing these thoughts, I found myself watching television, a rare indulgence. Within the span of 30 minutes, I witnessed a celebrity purchasing a £2 million watch, followed by advertisements for luxury vehicles most people will never afford, followed by a program showcasing London properties valued at £5 to £10 million. I sat there thinking, no wonder people are confused. No wonder they feel inadequate. No wonder wealth seems like a distant mythology reserved for others. Early in my career, I worked with a client who confessed during our initial meetings to feeling perpetually poor. The anxiety was genuine, the stress palpable. Yet when I examined his actual financial position, he possessed more wealth than 90% of the population. The problem wasn't his finances. The problem was his frame of reference. The media, and increasingly, social media, presents us with a binary vision of economic reality. On one side, the mega-wealthy, with their yachts and private jets and incomprehensible excess. On the other, struggling families barely surviving. There's this vast, deliberately ignored middle ground where most of humanity actually exists, but we're systematically erased from the narrative. It's like watching cooking shows that only feature Michelin-starred restaurants and impoverished students eating instant noodles. Where's the representation of the good, honest, home-cooked meal? Where's the celebration of the normal, the sustainable, the quietly sufficient? Here's the truth that Instagram won't show you, and that financial media deliberately obscures. Real wealth isn't flashy. It's boring. It's 6 months of living expenses sitting safely in an account you rarely think about. It's maximizing pension contributions year after year. It's owning diversified investments that grow silently while you sleep, compound interest working its patient magic. I have clients worth millions who drive decade-old vehicles. I know individuals with investment accounts exceeding £1 million who shop at discount grocers without shame or hesitation. Real wealth whispers. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to perform or prove itself. Please, I genuinely ask this of you. Stop comparing yourself to the highlight reels. Stop measuring your worth against curated fantasies and algorithmic illusions. Start comparing yourself to who you were last year, 5 years ago. That's real progress. That's how actual wealth gets built. Through sustainable improvement over time, not through sudden transformation or lucky breaks. This third truth is perhaps the most important, and I hope it fundamentally reshapes how you think about money forever. About 3 years ago, I had 2 young clients arrive for their initial consultations in the same week. Both expressed the same desperate desire. They wanted to get rich quickly. Both believed they just needed the right investment tip, the perfect cryptocurrency recommendation, the insider knowledge that would unlock instant prosperity. The first was obsessed with day trading, pulling up multiple apps on his phone, showing me charts and patterns, talking excitedly about making £500 daily through clever trades. The second wanted high-risk investments, forex trading, individual stocks, anything promising exponential returns. I sat there thinking, you're playing the wrong game entirely. Most people conceptualize wealth building as discovering some secret strategy, some hidden trick, some insider knowledge that separates the rich from everyone else. But that's not wealth building. That's gambling with extra steps. It's like thinking you can get physically fit by finding the perfect workout routine, when the reality is far simpler and far less exciting. Walk more, eat vegetables, get consistent sleep, repeat for years. No secrets, no shortcuts, just sustainable habits compounded over time. The real game isn't about buying lottery tickets. It's about putting that same money away systematically, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. I learned this truth the hard way. In my early career, I thought I was clever. I thought I understood markets better than I did. I lost money on individual stocks. I tried timing the market, jumping in and out based on hunches and news cycles. I fell for investment fads that promised everything and delivered disappointment. Then, one day, I sat in on a meeting between a senior advisor and one of their longest-standing clients. Just an ordinary person, unremarkable in appearance and demeanor. He had been investing approximately £200 monthly into boring index funds for 20 years. Super boring, super simple. Never touched it. Never tried to be clever. Just consistent, automated, patient. When the advisor revealed the account valuation, it exceeded £180,000. Not from brilliance, not from luck. From consistency and patience. Nothing more, nothing less. That meeting changed everything for me. It transformed how I approach wealth, how I guide clients, how I manage my own finances. The reality is this: wealth building isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. Most people are playing the game of how can I get rich fast? Meanwhile, wealthy people are playing an entirely different game. How can I build wealth sustainably over time? Those last three words, over time, contain everything. Start playing the right game. Set up automatic transfers on payday, removing money before you can spend it. Utilize tax-advantaged accounts. Invest in boring, diversified funds. Do this month after month, year after year, decade after decade. I know it's not sexy. I know it won't generate exciting dinner party stories. You probably hoped I'd reveal some hot investment that would make you a millionaire by tomorrow. But that's not going to happen. Fantasy rarely does. You know what is exciting, though? Having genuine financial freedom while everyone else remains stressed and struggling. Having choices when others have obligations. Having peace when others have anxiety. That's the truth they don't teach you. That's the game worth playing. So there you have it. 3 truths that separate the 99% from the 1% who build lasting wealth. It's not about your income. It's about your identity. It's not about what media tells you wealth should look like. It's about building something real and sustainable, even if it's invisible to others. And it's not about playing the game everyone else is playing. It's about changing the game entirely. From fast to sustainable. From exciting to reliable. From fantasy to reality. The choice, as it always has been, is yours. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect. Now, what story will you tell yourself about money today? What game will you choose to play? What future are you building with the choices you're making right now, in this moment? Wealth whispers. But only to those patient enough to listen.